Hello everyone, welcome back to this another informative video lesson, and today we are going to learn all about the word over. So basically over can be used in a number of ways as a preposition, adjective or adverb. And right now we are doing some basic uses, alright. Then if you are ready, then let's get started. But before we begin, let's do a quick review of what preposition is. So preposition is nothing but it is a connecting word as it connects a noun or a pronoun in a sentence. Its main function would be it gives information about time, place and direction. Alright, but let's now talk about the preposition over. Let's start with the first concept, and here we have higher position. So the first concept that goes with over would be over can be used to indicate something in a higher position. So have a look at this example sentence over here. A beautiful bird is flying over the sea. As you can see here, there is this beautiful bird that is flying in higher position. In this case, we can use over to talk about. Here is the next example that we have, and that is Emily has an umbrella over her head. Alright, so it is just above her head, as you can see. So when talking about something that is in higher position, we can use the word over. That means on top of. So that's the first concept that you should keep it in mind as well. Moving on to the next concept, and here we have more than. So now the second concept that you should keep it in mind is that over can be used to mean more than. So look at the example sentence. He has over 1,000 rupees in his pocket. That means he has more than 1,000 rupees in his pocket. I mean more than 1,000 rupees. Here is the next example, and that would be there are over 20 members in the meeting. That means there are more than 20 members who are there in the meeting. The third concept that you should keep it in mind is that over can be used to mean down. Yes, we can use over as down. As you can see, here is the boy who is playing happily on the pond, alright. But after some time, what happened is the boy fell over and broke his leg. That means the boy fell down and broke his leg. So another concept would be, another example would be, could you bend over and search those tiny nails for me? So maybe you are looking for a nail to fix somewhere in your room. Somehow it gets slipped away from your hand. Then you ask your brother and you are like, could you bend over and search those tiny nails for me? That means, could you bend down and search those tiny nails for me? So that's how you would end up using this word over as down. So that's the third concept that you should remember. Let's move forward, and here we have over as finished. Yes, we use over to talk something that's been finished. Over can also be used as an adjective, by the way. So look at the example sentence. The game is over. Here is the man who is playing games on his mobile phone. But what happens is the game is over. That means the game is finished. Here is the next example, and that would be what time the movie will be over. Let's think of a scenario where you and your friend are watching a movie. At some point, you can't stand the movie as it makes you really boring, by the way. Then you are like, what time the movie will be over? That means what time the movie will be finished. Alright, so that's how you would end up using the word over as finished. When something has ended, you could use this word over. That's the fourth concept that you should remember here. Let's move forward, and here is the next one, and that is we can use over as during. Alright, so over can also mean during or while doing something. Take a look at this example sentence. We watched a movie over lunch. That means we watched a movie during lunch or while we were having lunch. The next example sentence would be Peter will be in London over the summer. That means Peter will be in London during the summertime. Alright, so that's how you would end up using this word over as during. The next concept that goes with over would be over can also mean opposite or on the other side of. If you look at this example, you will understand better. There is a beautiful park over the road. Maybe you wish to visit a park but you don't know where it is. You ask a stranger to guide you, And the person whom you asked for would be like, there is a beautiful park over the road. That means there is a beautiful park on the other side of the road. You can reach there. Here is the next one. You can see the picture over the page. As you can see, here is the man who is reading the newspaper. What could you see on the other side? You can see the picture over the page. That means on the other side of the page, there is this picture that you can notice. So that's how you would end up using the word over as on the other side of. Here is the next one, and that is over as covering. Alright, so over can also mean cover. Look at the example sentence. There are thick clouds over the village. That means maybe you notice that there are thick clouds covering the village. Soon it might be raining. You could say there are thick clouds over the village. That means there are thick clouds that covers the village as well. Here is the next one. The girl put his hands over his ears. That means the girl places her hands and covers both of her ears totally. Alright. So that's how you would end up using this word over as covering. The next concept that goes with over is you could use over to talk about method of communication. Alright. Over can also means using. Say for example, we talked about general things over the phone. That means we talked about general things using the phone. So one more thing that I would like to remember here is that I would say we talked about general things on the phone. As I said earlier in the previous video, all types of gadgets or devices we could use on also. So we talked about general things on the phone. So that's absolutely correct, by the way. Here is the next example sentence. I listened to melody songs over the radio. That means I did not listen songs over the phone. I listened those beautiful melody songs over the radio or using the radio. So that's how you would use the word over as using. The next really basic concept that everybody knows is that over can also indicate movement. Alright, look at the example sentence. Why don't you come over to my apartment? Let's think of a scenario again. Probably your aunt has bought a new apartment and she wants you to come over there. Therefore, she can be like, why don't you come over to my apartment? I'm sure you'll get amazed. Here, over indicates movement. I mean, one place to another place. Alright. Here is the next example. Mary sent over a gift for his wedding. So again, we are talking about a movement, but in this case, people are not moving. But a thing or an object is sent from one place to another. Therefore, we could use the word over as well. Then the last concept that goes with over would be, over can also be used as an adverb. It means again or repeatedly. Take a look at this example sentence. Before that, let's think of an example. Probably you are in a classroom where your teacher is explaining something and you are not aware of what is going on as you are deeply immersed on your mobile phone. Then the teacher notices you and he gets extremely angry and he would be like, Sheila, I told you over and over that you are not allowed to use it during class hours. That means I told you again and again, but you are not at all obeying my words. Alright. So a really common example, isn't it? So everyone knows its meaning and that would be again. So that's it for today's lesson. Before we wind up, let's do a quick review of what we have learned so far. So what is the first concept that we have learned? We use over to indicate higher position. Say for example, his flat is over the supermarket. Alright. And the second concept is we use over as more than. For instance, Mark has earned over $1,000. And the third concept would be we use over as down. For example, I bend over to adjust my shoelace. And the fourth usage would be we could use over as finished or when something has ended. For example, the movie is over. And the fifth usage would be over as during. We enjoyed the gracious lecture over the dinner. And the sixth concept that you should keep it in mind is that over can mean on the other side of. There is a lake over my house. And the seventh concept is over as covering something. The mother replaced the blanket over the sleeping kid. Or one more concept would be he spilled the coffee all over the table. So we can use over with all. And the eighth concept would be, we can use over as using. I heard about the news over the FM. And the ninth usage would be to indicate movement. For example, please come over here. And the 10th concept is over as again. Alright, so that's it for today's lesson, and I hope you really find this lesson useful. I'll be back with another informative lesson. Until then, you stay motivated and keep on practicing as well. Thank you.